Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after big news. With us today, we're happy to have them again because they got big news. Darren Blaney, President CEO, Kelvin Burton, Investor Relations at American Creek Resources. The company trades on the stock symbol AMK. For those of you who are new to the story, and American Creek's getting a lot of notoriety now, the company holds an impressive portfolio of gold properties in BC's prolific Golden Triangle, one of the richest areas of mineralization in the world. But this isn't just a Me Too play, because their flagship Treaty Creek property is joint venture with Tudor Gold, whose CEO Walter Storm funded Osisko to a world-class gold mine and a peak capitalization of $4.5 billion. Mineralization Treaty Creek, very similar, lies within the same system as Seabridge's KSM and Pretty and Brucejack properties that lie immediately to the southwest. End of July, drilling results warranted Tudor bringing in a second drill. First week of August, Eric Sprott participates in his first private placement. Third week of August, another private placement. So they got great partners, great financing. And here's the press release. American Creek reports 150-meter step out intercepted the largest gold interval drilled to date at Treaty Creek. Guys, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, George. Good to be back again.
Thanks.
Well, we got good reason to have you back. This seems like an incredible press release. There are a lot of details. So before I get into the numbers, I want to talk bigger picture here, because in this press release, Walter Storm called it a massive gold system. Ken Konkin called it a huge gold system. And Darren, you yourself called it, quote, clearly we have a massive world-class gold system that still shows no signs of weakening. So how happy are you guys with these latest results?
I think my quote sums it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we're thrilled. You know, it's everything we thought it would be and more. You know, world-class intercept. We're talking over 1 kilometer gold intersection in that step-out hole. All eyes were kind of waiting and watching to see if that step-out was going to show continuation to the northeast, and it did. So yeah, we're happy.
And it's open to the north. It's open to the east. Pretty much to the depth. It's incredible. We don't know where the end of it is.
Yeah. So safe to say that you guys got everything you wanted out of this, out of these results.
We did. You know, it'd be nice to be able to release another 20 holes or so, but drilling takes time. But you know, yeah, it was great. We're thrilled with it.
Especially at that depth too, right? Yeah. You guys are going pretty damn deep.
Yeah, it takes a long time to drill 1 kilometer down in the ground. So anyway, we're thrilled.
So let's get into some numbers. You drilled 2 deep vertical holes, 4 definition holes. All 6 intercepted significant gold. That's huge. So let's go into a couple of details. GS19-47, that was a step out hole, 150-meter step out. How deep can this thing go? Because you left the casing in the hole to go deeper next year.
That's a good question. We think it goes pretty darn deep. The reason why, I guess, is that's not just wild speculation. One of the things we've noticed from the start of the program, ever since we did the geophysics, the magnetotelluric survey, is amazing correlation between the drill holes and the geophysics. Geophysics, you know, has been used to guide the drilling. Konkin's used that specifically to target areas, and we're hitting exactly what we expect to hit. The geophysics says it goes a whole lot deeper. I don't know, Kelvin, have we got...
Well, yeah, I'll just show you a chart here. So in this case, the yellow is the richest part that holds gold, and now we're just starting to see copper as well. And you can see the drill holes here. This was from last year, and these holes out here are the new step out hole, the last hole that we released just a month ago, and then the third hole, which was on this release here. All 3 of them fantastic holes, and as you can see, there's a lot of depth here. So this is actually 4 kilometers down to the bottom of this.
Wow.
And then you can see that the holes are right here, and the yellow extends well over 1 kilometer to the north as well. And it's not giving you depth perception either. So we honestly think we're just literally scratching the surface up here in terms of what the potential could be for this, according to the geophysics.
You know, Konkin using terms like huge and massive and so forth, I mean, that's not hype. You know, it truly appears to have that scale. So we think the best is actually yet to come.
Whole GS19-48, that was the big one here. 835 meters at 3/4 of a gram. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, that one is pretty staggering, actually. We have close to 1 gram, over 800 meters on that one, and very similar to the step out hole there. It is actually very rich at the bottom and has a horizon close to the top. In fact, that's something that's pretty unique to all of these holes, including the step out one, is that on the step out hole we have over 300 meters close to surface at over 1 gram. We have the last 200 meters in the step out hole is over 1 gram and ends in mineralization. It also has copper in it, which suggests that we might be getting into that copper porphyry that Darren was talking about. And this hole just confirms that. So this hole here was from the same pad as the last hole from last year, which ran 563 meters at just under 1 gram. And now we have this one running well over 800 meters at just under 1 gram. So it's, and this one's straight down into the ground as well. So it's just confirming that this thing is massive, and as the geophysics chart showed you there, that it looks like it has a long, long ways to go down.
Is this almost too big to be true, Darren? Like, you know,
we're
the size of
getting
this, can the market and the industry really comprehend what you guys have got here?
You know, we're getting some phone calls saying exactly that. You know, we don't understand this. This appears to be bigger than we thought, and too good to be true. And we've had some interesting phone calls. You know, it's been kind of fun, actually. I'm going to just hold this chart. Can you hold that chart
Yeah,
just one more time?
Sure.
So just with Calvin's description he just gave of that step out hole, as he mentioned, we have an interval right at the start of the hole of higher grade over 1 gram. And then down at the bottom hole, we also have higher grade again, which correlates very well with this. The yellow again is where the best gold is. And so, I mean, look at the blue sky, George. It's just.
And George, I just want to point out the scale of this here, because this tiny little yellow area up here, that's about 600 meters into the ground, right? This is 4 kilometers down, so it's actually deeper than you can mine.
So guys, yeah. How does this rank then within, you know, the region you're in, right? Which is incredibly rich. You've got Pretium, there, you've got Seabridge there. Are you guys starting to, how do you compare, I guess, at this stage? Because obviously they're further advanced in terms of the number of drills that they've drilled, but how do you guys compare right now at this stage?
One of the things that chart there is showing you is that this is all one big system, and it's all coming from incredibly deep into the ground, and it's really feeding the entire thing. So right from the southern tip of Pretium and from the KSM all the way up to where we are now, and in fact actually going further north than where we are now. In the last interview that we did, we talked about a quote from Konkin, and he calls it a rhythm or a sequence going on within these large systems. He refers to it as a string of pearls, just really big pearls. Nice. And so, and it's this deep system that's causing that. And so it's all coming up from deep, and it seems to be causing a concentration about every 2.5 kilometers or so. As far as the KSM is concerned, starting with the Kerr, then the Sulphurets, Mitchell, Iron Cap. Those are about 2.5 kilometers apart from each other. And then 5 kilometers away is this Goldstorm system that we're seeing right now. So it's right where it should be. And again, that chart's actually showing that there is the potential for mineralization all the way from our border of Seabridge all the way up to the Goldstorm. And then, as we mentioned in the last video, probably the largest magnetic anomaly that we have on the property overlaps that right in between the two. So there's
Right where
potential,
it should be.
Right where it should be. So there's potential for something else in between the Goldstorm and the iron cap, but it hasn't been drilled. We need to focus on the Goldstorm for right now and add value there. But Konkin's actually thinking, this has potential for numerous deposits on it. But our focus right now is on the Goldstorm, and we're scratching the surface, to be honest with you, with where we are.
So you're talking to me, you've expanded the zone from 500 to 800 meters in length. You've expanded from 300 to 500 meters in width. And as you're going north, you've gone from 700 meters to over a kilometer in depth. And you're still, seriously, you're still scratching the surface?
It appears that we are. I know that sounds too good to be true, but the geophysics haven't lied yet, and we have a lot of confidence in them.
And it's the same geophysics that actually aided both Pretium and Seabridge to have the discoveries of their deep deposits that they had. So we know it's accurate. We know that it works.
And let's talk about, I want to refer to Ken Konkin's quote where he said, this is the first time we've seen this strength of gold mineralization at depth. Furthermore, a strong copper association was encountered with gold values at depth. You guys kind of touched on that earlier. What's the significance of the strong copper at depth?
This gets very interesting, and we've had some interesting phone calls the last couple of days in this regard. The Copper Bell and the Goldstorm haven't really fit a conventional model. So the closest model that those deposits have fit into has been a copper porphyry. But again, we've kind of been lacking the copper. We've got the gold, and the gold values get stronger as you go through Seabridge's KSM and cross the boundary into Treaty Creek. They continue to strengthen to the northeast, but the copper has always kind of been the missing component to classify it into being a copper porphyry. So now that we're seeing the copper and significant copper, especially where we're seeing it, now the blue sky, the wheels are turning there as far as it looks like we do have a copper porphyry that would fit the textbook style. And so the thinking has always been that we may be in the halo of a copper porphyry deposit, not actually in the sweet spot yet. This would lend evidence, it's still too early to know, but this lends evidence to that theory that the best is yet to come, and we still haven't found the sweet spot of a large, very large gold copper porphyry system.
And it's on the right side of the mountain. I know we've mentioned that in the past,
Sure.
but it's worth mentioning again here that this isn't a deposit that's way up on top of a mountain range, or it's not buried under hundreds or thousands of meters of rock above it.
We don't need twin tunnels like Seabridge does.
It's very accessible out to the highway, out to the power, and just the deposit itself is in logistically a great spot right at the bottom of the valley. So it's a wonderful place to happen to have a deposit.
Right.
So what's next, guys? Because obviously you guys you're 9 for 9 now. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I'm assuming Tudor had 2 drills going. Are those still going? And how long will there be any weather issues coming up, or what do things look like for the next couple of months?
Sure. So where we are right now is, yes, those 2 drills are still on the property. They're still turning. They've actually had very, very good weather up in northern BC, and that's been a plus. At some point here in October, the weather will start to move in, and, they're going to drill as long as they absolutely can drill for. We're hoping for a late fall. They'll go as long as they can continue to go for. But at some point in October, you're fighting too much weather and it starts to not make sense, and they'll pull out. But for now, there's 2 drills turning, and so we're expecting more results here to come.
Yeah.
All right, guys, congratulations on fantastic results. Almost too good to be true from the sounds of it. I'll leave last words with you guys as to, what do you have to say to your shareholders in the market in general?
Well, we're thrilled. My quote again, really was from the heart. That truly is how I feel. The Golden Triangle is classed as elephant country because of the types of the deposits that can be discovered up there. And it looks like we have one big elephant on our hands here. And I think as the market grasps the magnitude of it, things will just get better and better. I expect the market will continue to reward the results, especially if the gold to silver price keeps rolling the way it is. Our timing really couldn't be better in that regard. And so we're expecting the best is yet to come. We're thrilled about what lies ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Kelvin.
it's fantastic numbers in the ground, regardless of how we feel about it.
Right.
We just hope our shareholders see the same vision. Are thrilled to.
Well, and I got to tell you, what really adds a lot of credibility here is what I always like to call the third party. You know, who's the third party validation? You already have Walter Storm and Tudor Gold as your joint venture partner.
Right.
You had Eric Sprott join in as into 2 private placements, which is something I haven't seen very often. But within the same month, you get an investor participate in 2 private placements, with the second one being 80% higher than the first one. That kind of, you know, that says a lot. So that kind of third-party validation, I think, is important, because it's not just, you know, a small cap company with a couple of optimistic an optimistic CEO and investor relations officer who are hoping for the best. You've got incredible partners there, so it just adds a lot of validity to what you guys are saying.
Yeah, we actually just got back from Vancouver. We were able to have a very nice dinner with Walter and Catalin from Tudor. And they had just gotten back from the Beaver Creek show down in Colorado, and they were flying high, to say the least. You know, we have some big boys sniffing around on what's going here, and you know, I think we got exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
And let's not forget to mention Ken Konkin. A lot of people are new to American Creek because these results are really putting you guys on the map. Darren, if you can, for a minute, tell us about the significance of Ken Konkin being, you know, leading the charge over Tudor and what he's done before.
Sure. So Ken has a stellar track record. You know, he's got several decades of experience up in the Golden Triangle, and more specifically with our neighbors. So he was the one that's credited with discovering Pretium's Brucejack mine. There was historic work done, but he's the one that kind of tied it all together. And of course, that went into production 2 years ago here. It's in the top 10 as far as gold mines in the world. You know, it's a big deal. He basically retired from that venture after having, you know, cranked it out of the park, so to speak. Once he saw, I should actually turn this part over to you. Why don't you? Calvin actually talked to him, and Calvin can give you the story first.
Yeah, Calvin, do tell.
Ken actually told me that the way it came about was, it was a Sunday afternoon, and he was having a leisurely afternoon looking at drill intercepts. I guess that's what geologists do for fun on a Sunday afternoon. And he was looking at the last hole from last year. So that was the 563 meters at 0.98 grams per ton gold. And when he actually looked at the intervals, he realized that it was consistent right from the top to the bottom, and that it wasn't just kind of some here and some there, but it was consistent all the way down. Never seen that before. He says he about fell out of his chair when he realized what was there. And that's actually what started the process of him coming on board. And he really is the right guy. I think he's really fast tracking this deposit and things going on Treaty Creek, because he's already learned his lessons from being within the same hydrothermal system for the last decade here on everything that's worked and hasn't worked. And so he's just fast tracking the whole thing. And that's to our great advantage to have him.
So you not only have an incredible property, but you also have Walter Storm on your side, who funded Osisko to a sale of $3.5 billion. You know, logic tells me he's not going to come back into the game unless he can find an elephant. Otherwise, why waste his time?
Right.
Now we got Ken Konkin, who credited with the discovery with Pretium's Brucejack, and he's spending a Sunday afternoon, sees what you got. He comes back because, again, you know, when you discover something that big, or when you're credited with it, then you know you don't move downscale. You try and stay the same or move upscale. And you've got Eric Sprott as a great investor. So guys, you've done something incredible here at American Creek in the last 3 months, and can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next 3-4 months.
Yeah, we're excited about the future. You know, Ken is flying high. You know, and if anybody has a chance to talk to him at any of the shows that he might be at or so forth, take the time to do it. You know, you will be impressed, and you'll be sold.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Congratulations again. Looking forward to the next set of results, and I'm sure we're going to have you right back here.
Thanks,
Great.
George.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
You've been watching Darren Blaney, President CEO, as well as Calvin Burton, Investor Relations over at American Creek Resources. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange on the stock symbol AMK. Now that you've watched the guys answer these questions, due diligence is up to you. Go back, read yesterday's press release, watch this interview again, because that'll help you with the color. And then make sure you get over to the company's website, take a look at everything there. When you've got your questions, come back to Agoracom. The company has a CEO verified forum. Ask your questions, and you're going to get your answers from Darren or Kelvin, and that says a lot about their accessibility and how confident they feel. Due diligence up to you. Don't say we didn't tell you so. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.